Let's install Visual Studio on Windows 11, and after that we will also see how to create our first C# program. So I'm going to start by opening my web browser, and here I'm just going to look for download Visual Studio, and make sure that you wrote here download Visual Studio and not Visual Studio Code. As you can see, this is a popular option, but Visual Studio Code is a different code editor. What we want, at least in this tutorial, is how to download Visual Studio. So make sure that you are looking for this, and then the first option should be the one that you're looking for. If you want the direct address, then it should be visualstudio.microsoft.com. So maybe I'll do it this way, just to be on the safe side. So visualstudio.microsoft.com. Great, so this is the website, and now we're going to use this link. And once again, notice there is another link to download Visual Studio Code. This is not what we want this one, download Visual Studio. So let's choose this option, and we need to wait for a minute, and it's being downloaded. Okay, it was downloaded, and this was a really small file. It's nothing but an installer. The big install that will actually install Visual Studio is just around the corner. So let's start this installer, and I need to approve this application to make changes to the computer. Great, and this is Visual Studio installer. Let's continue. And now it's updating Visual Studio installer, only going to take a minute. Amazing. And now we actually see the Visual Studio installer. Here we need to choose the workload that we want. So if you are a C# or a .NET developer, chances are that you want this, ASP.NET and web development. This is probably the case if you're doing anything that's related to web development. So I am going to choose this option. This is a very popular option among .NET developers, so let's choose it. And I'm also going to choose this. This is related to desktop development. So things like WPF, Windows Forms, and console applications are going to be found here. This is also a very popular option, especially among students and legacy systems developers, or anyone else who just enjoys developing in C#. So I'm also going to choose this option. Of course, if you're also planning to use Visual Studio to develop in Python or Node.js, choose these options as well. I'm not going to choose them. And as you can see, the total space required is going to be over 9 GB. So this is going to be a big and long download. Here we can change the location for the installation. I recommend to just leave it at the default option, and let's go ahead and start the installation. So Visual Studio is now being installed. It will take a while. I'll be back when it's done. Okay, so seems like it's done. Let's see what we have here. Okay, and this is our way to sign into Visual Studio. So you can sign in, you can use your Microsoft account if you really want to. You don't have to do it. So here I'm going to choose skip and add accounts later. If you want, you can sign in, of course. And here you need to choose your preferred color theme. You can either go with dark or bright. I just go with this one. I'm old-fashioned. I like the bright displays. You choose whatever you want and start Visual Studio. Great, and that's about it. We now have Visual Studio installed. Let's now see how to quickly create our first C# project. So here I'm going to create a new project. And here, where it says all languages, I'm going to change it to C#. Now I only see options that are related to C#, and there are quite a lot of them. But I want to keep things as simple as possible for this example, so I'm going to go with a console app. This is probably the simplest way to get started with C#. So this is what I'm going to choose, console app, and let's next. And now we need to give a name for our application. So I'll just call it example app. And then we need to choose a location where we want this new project to be created. So here I'm going to create a new workspace folder. So in my C drive, I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to name it C# workspace. So C# workspace, and let's select this folder, and our example app project will be created in this folder. So let's next. And here we need to choose the framework. You can either go with .NET 8 or .NET 9. And please notice that .NET 8 is long-term support, so it might be a better choice for a lot of use cases, but it's up to you. And here I want it to look like a normal C# program. I never really liked this extra short syntax that they presented a few versions ago, so I'm going to check this box. Do not use top-level statements. This way it's going to look a bit more like classical C#, and in my opinion, a bit easier to understand. So let's create our application, and the project is being created. And that's basically it. This is our program. Let's try to run it by just clicking here. And if we look down here at the bottom, we can see this console application. If we open it, we can see hello world, which is the expected result from our program. And here it says that we can press any key to close this window. So this is the expected result for this program. So Visual Studio was successfully installed, and we ran our first C# program.